this monologue, my character is a girl whose father recently passed away, but he wasn't always as loving towards her as he could have been, and everybody who knew him outside of their home thought he was amazing and loved him and thought he could do no wrong. And when she gives a speech at his funeral, she decides to be brutally honest and tell everyone how he was really like, instead of just going along with what everybody thinks and pretending.
A lot of people are here today. No pressure, right? They say the worst things happen to the best people. I disagree. My father was a great man, at least to most of you. He'd tell stories and do impressions every chance he got. I hated them. They were never accurate anyway. His impression of Daniel Day-Lewis doing Abraham Lincoln sounded more like Al Pacino. Those of you who were his students knew a caring, dedicated, and hilarious teacher. Sounds like a great guy. It's too bad I never got to meet him. The man I knew was short-tempered, distant, and narcissistic. The day I found out he was going to die, I was unfazed. That's bad, I know. It sounds like a horrible thing to say, but he didn't love me. He'd ignore me when I asked him questions or shared my opinion. I was his daughter. He was supposed to care. His work occupied all his time. I didn't see why it mattered so much. He was just a teacher. They were just students. I was the one who deserved his time. I was the one who deserved his care. I was his daughter. As I watched him fade away on the hospital bed, I thought for once, just once, I'd have his undivided attention. I didn't. Even in his last days, all he could think about was you, his bloody students. He wrote some of you letters. They weren't just any farewell letters. He wrote to tell you what you meant to him. I never got any letter. It's selfish, really, I know, but I deserved one. I did. I thought it was okay, though, that he would surely change in the end. Maybe he would tell me he loved me and mean it. He never did. I read some of the letters he wrote you. One was to a boy named Jacob. My dad told Jacob that he had made him see the world in a different way. Opened his eyes, he said. Shifted his perspective, he said. My father was a liar. As I watched him take his final breath, I cried. But I wasn't sad. I was angry. Where was my letter? I deserved one, didn't I? I was his daughter. But he was dead, so you can all go on and mourn the loss of a great man. I knew the real Albert Scott. He had you all fooled.
So what my monologue is about. My sister wants to leave the fantasy she's living in, but she's scared of growing up. So I help her, and I tell her all these things that will help her leave her fantasy. So at the end of the monologue, she leaves her fantasy, and then we grow up together, so.
Macy, listen, I might not have all the answers. I'm not stylish and I'm not that cool, but I know one thing though, and that's you. And even though you might act like it, you don't want to live in some fantasy world. You're scared of growing up, and who could blame you? I'm scared too. Look, real life stinks sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, but there's a better way to get through it than denial. And that's with the help from people who care about you. That's who've gone through our whole lives. I actually thought you were living in a fantasy, but look at me. I actually thought I was gonna stay here and spend my whole life cooped up in a basement in a lab coat. How ridiculous is that? I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but whatever it is, you don't have to be afraid, because we'll do it together. I'm not taking Ford's apprenticeship. I've traveled the world to find you, and there's no way I'm going back alone. So let's grow up together, and let's leave this fantasy world.
Hi, I'm Kenzie Stinger. I'm 24 years old. I have been singing and performing and acting for most of my life, ever since I was about 5 or 6 years old. I love to do musical theater and film and commercials, and I enjoy teaching music at Alela Elementary School. And yeah, I love performing, and that's me.
There's a boy who works at Starbucks who is very inspirational. He is very inspirational because of many things. I walk in at 8:11 and he smiles and says, "How are you?" When he smiles and says, "How are you?" I could swear my heart grows wings. So today at 8:11, I decided I should meet him. I decided I should meet him in a proper formal way. So today at 8:11, when he smiled and said, "How are you?" I said, "Fine, and my name's Kenzie." And he softly answered, "Hey." And I said, "My name is Kenzie, and thank you for the extra phone." And he said his name was Taylor, which provides the inspiration for this poem. Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. So I'd like to get my nerve up to recite my poem musical. He'd like the fact it's musical because he plays guitar. So today at 8:11, Taylor told me he was playing in a band down in the village, in the basement of a bar. And he smoothly flipped the lever to prepare my double latte. But for me, he made it triple, and he didn't think I knew. But I saw him flip the lever, and for me, he made it triple. And I knew that triple latte meant that Taylor loved me too. I said, "What time are you playing? And thank you for the extra skin." He said, "Keep the 355 because that triple latte was on him." Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. I used to be the kind of girl to run when love rushed towards her. But suddenly a voice whispered, "Love can be yours if you step up to the counter and order." Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. So many years my heart has waited. Who'd have thought love could be so caffeinated? Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. I love him, I love him, I love